Contact Poi and dance, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Well, maybe not. Drex here from DrexFactor.com, bringing you poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain. And that's right, today I'm going to try and get all of you out there playing around with your Contact Poi to start moving your bloody feet. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flow Fests, Flow Toys, Pyroterra Light Toys, LMF Props, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all of these amazing companies and the work that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. So it's kind of an unstated rule of poi that people who play around with Contact Poi and everything don't move their feet, whether it's because they don't think they need to or whether they think they need a nice stable base to kind of anchor everything that they're doing. It's really, really rare that you see somebody who's doing Contact Poi getting their lower body involved at all. I would like to put an end to that. The trick here is that this is not going to be a tutorial on Contact Poi itself. I've already done those tutorials, and I will link to them down in the description as well as up in the cards if you happen to be watching this video on YouTube. Suffice it to say that if it is still a challenge for you to bust out a folding line on demand, then you probably want to spend a little bit more time practicing your Contact Poi before you dive into this stuff, right? If, on the other hand, you're ready to go, then let's find out what we can do about getting a little bit of a spring into your step as you're rolling that poi around. So I will straight up tell you that the three techniques we're going to cover in this video, there's not a lot that really unites them, and it's kind of just like a grab bag of things that I've found over the years that work really well in terms of making poi have a better physical presence, yeah? So the first thing we're going to play around with is the idea of kind of contraction and expansion as it pertains to moving with the poi here. And you're going to see that we can do this without really having to do a lot that's going to change the movement of the poi. In fact, this works off of one of the simplest poi moves that there is, just the basic outer forearm roll that most of us, this is usually either the first or the second Contact Poi trick that we learn. But all of a sudden, it takes on a very different edge if we say make that boom moment when it begins its roll kind of land for us. That is, boom, when I have that moment when the tether is coming around and clicking on that bone in my elbow and everything, I can use that as a moment to react with the rest of my body as though, boom, it's had some kind of effect on me, right? And I really, really love the aesthetics of hitting that moment, boom, because it tells the audience that something dramatic is about to happen, right? The other end of this is that we can take that moment when it's done rolling to do a little bit of a reveal there, right? If we combine these two things together, we have boom, contraction, and boom, expansion that really add a lot to the overall dynamics of the move. We're expressing it not just with the poi, but also with our full bodies, yeah? And yes, I know it's kind of cheesy and theatrical and everything, but at the same time, it works and it looks really cool. We can also take this in such a way that, boom, we never end the contraction. We just kind of like express the kind of collapsing the entire way down and everything. Or we can do it in such a way, boom, that we're big and out there at every part of it. You can just as easily register that hit with a little kick or a move out with your hand and everything. There's a lot of options here that don't involve fundamentally changing what the trick is, but give the audience something more to grab onto as we're doing it. The second thing I'd love to talk about is traveling with the poi as it's doing a folding line. Folding lines are one of my favorite Contact Poi tricks, and because the poi is moving back and forth across a horizontal line of our body and everything, that also gives us the opportunity to move our bodies with it. And we can move them in two fashions, one that I like to call sympathetic motion and one that I like to call counter motion. That is, as I'm doing that roll, I can move my entire body in the same direction that my poi is moving. Otherwise, I can move my body against the direction of the poi. That is, I can step back from where the poi was coming from or over to where it's going. And of course, you can maintain this the entire way through with the folding line, even if you decide to go back out with it. So for example, I can take my folding line across, boom, and come back the other way. Or I can do the entire thing as contra motion, in which case I go towards where it just came from and then back out to finish it off, right? So the footwork that I'm using in both cases is basically a truncated version of a pas de bourrée or grapevine step. When I'm going with the direction of the poi, it's usually starting off for me by stepping behind with my right, out with my left, and then when I hit the place where I can make the poi go back the other way, I'm basically half putting my weight on my right foot and I step back, right out, right out to finish it off. When I'm going against the direction of the poi and everything, I'm stepping behind with my left, out with my right, and then coming back, stepping back with my right, out with my left. So overall, it would look like this. If I'm going with the direction of the poi, boom, I go boom, 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 out. And if I'm going against the direction of the poi, it look more like this. I would step in towards it, and then back out. Yeah? And for our last bit of dance with Contact Poi here, we're going to make use of what I think is probably the single Contact Poi trick that I use the least. That is, it is that palm roll up to the catch and then pushing back out and everything. I had an aha moment one day when I was watching myself do this, when I realized that the momentum could be transferred into kind of like a horizontal spin. And thus was born, boom, that little pirouette thing there. The idea here is that as soon as you catch the poi, you're picking up your left knee, and that's going to take you around to where you can return to where you started and everything, and throw back out the tether to catch the poi head. Now, to really make this pop, there's a little bit of a trick. Namely, that foot has to come down when you release the poi. The two have to be linked here. So as I go around, I'm going to boom, do both of them together. And your mileage may vary in terms of whether you think it's better to have the hand hit as it goes, or rather the foot hit as the hand goes out, or whether it's better to initiate both movements at the same time. That is, basically your foot hits the ground as soon as your poi head hits your hand. Both of them are totally legit. Both of them, I think, look awesome. It's totally up to your taste. The one thing I will say, though, is I think that this is the one and only one of these tricks that I have a hard time doing with another poi in my hands, and maybe wrapping it up is going to be part of the trick to getting it down and everything. But yeah, this is one of those moments where you can throw something really, really unexpected into a Contact Poi trick and really wow your audience with it. Cool, so let's get a little bit of those feet moving out there as we're doing our Contact Poi, yeah? Trying these out, or maybe trying out your own versions of them, I'd love to see it. Please post a video to Instagram and tag me. Use the hashtag DrexFactorPoi so I can check it out. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe so that other people can find and learn from these videos. And of course, this video would not be possible without the wonderful support of these fine folks right here, as well as those who are listed down in the description. These are my wonderful supporters on Patreon, without whom this video and the other videos on this channel would not exist. If you would like to support the work that I do, if you have the means, and I understand if you don't, but if you do, please head on over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi and sign up. You can get early access to all of my content, as well as a say in what topics I tackle in the future. Awesome. Well, it is boiling, so I'm going to get inside. Thanks for dancing with me, and I hope you get some mileage out of these. Peace.